Yo, what's up, Scream Scene? This your boy Jody Dean here, Mr. Hunting the Dead. Welcome back to another episode on the Pizzod. Tonight I got one of my great longtime friends. Also I met her through doing YouTube, which is really cool, man. I look at like all the people in my life from doing YouTube, and there's so many. The internet has brought us all together. It's bringing us to you guys. But anyway, here's my co-host for tonight, Heaven Harmony. What's going on, Hev?
Hey, what's up, Jody?
Oh
Thanks for
my,
having me.
I'm so stoked to have you, dude. Like, we how long do you think we've known each other now?
I want to say almost 3 years because I started the first time I seen your channel was a little bit before I got pregnant. And so now that baby's going to be three this year. So yeah, I want to say almost 3 years
See,
or
guys,
about 3 years.
my channel be getting people pregnant. That's what kind of channel we got. No, no, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, you're right. About I was gonna say like it feels like 3 or 4 years, so that sounds about right. But we were very close to having you in my new movie Mallet 2. It didn't quite work out.
Yes, unfortunately,
But you're a horror lover. You and your husband are,
I
right?
yes, we love horror films all the time. Doesn't matter if it's Halloween or not. Horror films all the time. We
Damn.
just love that gory and like the spooky and just we love having nightmares. We love the adrenaline. Oh, we just like it's so scary. Like we get scared, but we can't get enough of it. It's addicting.
I love that. I love that, man. I'm addicted to it like that too. When you're saying all that stuff, I'm like, I like that too. I like that too. Man, like, okay,
Yeah.
that's why we all cool. Um, well, yeah, so down the line that may very well happen. I want to have this girl in a film. I think she's a natural. And her husband too. He's got it. He dresses up as Michael Myers and scares the hell out of people during the Halloween season,
Yeah.
and
He
he
gets
does a
a lot
good
of fun
job
out of
at it
that.
too. So um, tonight I wanted to talk about something, and I feel like you're the perfect person to bring on the show to talk about it with. So a lot of people, man, are demon panicked. A majority of the content that came out on YouTube for a long time and still was attacked by a demon. I seen a
Hmm.
demon. Um, Possessed by a demon. All the movies with the demons. Um, and and I believe I've had dark experiences. I feel like I've had enough knowledge that we can even talk about the conversation, but you've been a long time paranormal lover. You've
Hmm.
observed, you've watched, and you've had some experiences yourself. So I thought maybe we could dive into talking about demons tonight. Are demons real? What do you
I
think?
definitely believe that they're real. Um, I've never had an experience with like a paranormal demon, but I've definitely seen demons in humans like ourselves. You
Hmm.
know, I've had people do some really evil things that I don't feel like a normal um positive human could do. You know, I just feel like there's something really messed up going on. And I feel like that has a lot to do with demons, you know. Um I know that my husband because he used to be in the Navy, and those ships are been around for years, right? Like years, and
Right.
things have happened on those ships, and those ships have seen things and been through things. And I know that he's never been possessed, but he's had sleep paralysis, and he can hear like he knows that there's something evil like pushing themselves on him, and you know he's not able to move, and he can hear like the big thumping footsteps and you know,
Right.
just wild stuff. And so, do I believe that they're real? Absolutely. I absolutely believe that they're real. Do I think that they come around all the time? I don't. I think that they like to prey upon the weak.
Hmm.
I think they like to prey upon the ones that um, are super religious. because they want to be like, oh, this is just what I'm assuming. They want to test your faith in God and stuff, and
Yeah.
um, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, they're definitely real.
I almost everything you said there, I feel the same way. And that I do feel the same. I feel that they prey upon weak people. I feel like the closer someone's life is to falling apart, the the better target they are for
Hmm.
something that's main goal in life. I would assume a demon's main goal in life is to rip churches apart, rip people apart, and just cause absolute chaos and try and bring people to the dark side and go to the dark side at their own free will. So like they push you there, but they don't make the decision. And one thing, like I've always heard, my grandma told me when I was little, and I don't know how it is worded in the Bible, so I'm not going to go there, but I'll say that my grandma always said, if somebody takes their own life, they're going to hell. There is that's something you can't be forgiven for.
Right,
And that's always stuck with me. And if that's true, then you think about them preying on weak people. They're trying to get them to make that choice because that's another soul to torture, right?
right, yeah, exactly. Um, I for some reason, I feel like when you say they want to bring them to the dark side, I think sometimes I get the vibe that they want to just make you believe that there's no one out there that can help you.
Hmm.
That it's like this life and that life, which is like the dark, the sadness, the forever be in pain. I just think they want to just rip that belief that there's something better out there.
Yeah,
So they like attack you and they mess with your mind and your emotions and your demeanor and stuff. So I don't know.
manipulation. Yeah,
Yeah, hardcore manipulation. And it's crazy that you kind of think that they're like punks too, right? Because they like to prey upon the weak, but it's like,
right.
why not prey upon someone stronger? Like, why not challenge that? Like, why the
Yeah,
weak? Like, are you afraid that you're gonna fail? Like you're so strong. You know what I'm saying? Like you're so like
it's a
uh,
good point.
brilliant and stuff, but you can't. You only prey upon those that are just at their lowest. Like, come
It's like
on.
the whole bully thing in
Yeah.
school, like the kid that's picking on the weaker kid, the skinnier kid, the smaller kid, the kid, the unexperienced kid. And then you look at the kid that's doing the picking on, and he's like, this big kid using his weight to his advantage or his size or, um, yeah, I mean, and what's funny is I dealt with bullies very early on from first, second, third grade.
Yeah.
First to third grade was torment. I can honestly say that I wouldn't be the guy I am if it wasn't for them. So it's like it helped me, it hurt me, it caused me PTSD. But I remember thinking to myself, um, that I was dealing with pure evil. And some of those people like I've seen throughout my life. And by the way, I ended up kicking the shit out of these guys along the way. Like once I learned how to fight, it was on. And I went back for vengeance. I went back for vengeance.
Yes.
Um, but I've seen them throughout my life, and some of them are dead from drug overdoses. Some of them are in prison, and I'm like, maybe they were being preyed on.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Isn't that
'Cause,
crazy?
yeah, I feel like they're reacting to whatever they got going on in their life because I was bullied a lot too when I was younger. Hardcore bully, like mean things. Like I'm just this small, timid girl, and I was already going through stuff at home as well. So I wasn't just being bullied at school; I was being bullied at home,
Hmm.
and I was getting it from all um sides. And so, but I like as an adult, I think about it like, what were they going through that they decided to let it out on me? Like
Right.
for the longest time I was angry But I also learned to forgive too. You know, like my parents put me through hell. Just stuff that bullies did, and I just thought, they don't know what they're doing. Who am I to like be angry and hold a grudge? That's not my place. My place is to let go and forgive and just learn from it. But if none of that stuff would have happened to me, I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wow. That's a good point. So, because when we're saying that it appears they prey on weak people, those people that prey on what they consider weak people just really makes them weak people. Because yeah, like you said, it's not like they wouldn't do that to just anybody. Or it's like, okay, perfect example. Like as a YouTuber over the years, I've had so many haters. It's just like it's unfathomable. However, if the internet wasn't sitting between us, they would
Mhm.
say a lot freaking less. I know that. Like
Mhm.
I've ran into some of them, but and then like I've seen how some of them are, and it's like I know the internet's a whole different story because the reason people hate so much on the internet or spread so much hate is because it's so easily accessible. Um,
It makes them
but
feel powerful.
it does. It makes them feel powerful, and that's also like it shows how weak they really are to do something just because it's easy, because it's accessible. Like, oh, I'm gonna attack this person or say this mean thing or do this um because I can, and there's little they can, there's little consequence that will come to me.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's maybe they're being preyed on by demons. I mean, that would answer a lot of questions, really.
Yeah. I mean, evil has takes all kinds of shape and form, and they could be an animal, they could be a person, a kid, it could be anything. I just think people just have a lot of anger and hate, you know? And so
Hmm.
I would assume that has a lot to do with demons, because if you really think about your life, like using my life as an example, like things could be going much better,
Hmm.
right? But every day I wake up, every day that I see my husband, my kids, every day that I'm able to like see light, I'm grateful, because
Hmm.
it could be so much worse. I've been through so much worse that this is bad, but it's 10 times better than what I've been through.
Hmm.
10 times better than what my husband has been through. My kids will never know that that life. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so it's just it's a constant it's an exercise really to wake up and tell yourself like, okay, be positive, you know, be grateful, be appreciative, you know, count your blessings. Like it's so
Hmm.
easy to fall into being negative. It's so easy to be sad and depressed. And not that we don't feel those things. We're human. Of
Yeah.
course we feel those things. Sometimes some days are harder than others, but the point is that we can't, and that's when I feel the demons come in, because they want you to stay in that like emotion of just like depressed and sad and angry. And they
Hmm.
don't want you to see that things are better than what they really are, because again, that shows strength, right? It shows courage, it shows bravery to just keep going, even when
Yeah.
you think, well, it's a risk. Nothing may not happen, but you know, I don't know if that makes any sense. In
No,
my
it
head,
does.
that
It
made sense.
does. It does make sense, dude. Listen, I think that, and I don't just think. Okay, so I have had some experiences. Like I haven't even talked about that. I have had some experiences where I believe that there's some experiences that I think I was just around something that was just mean, evil in their living life, like some son of a bitch named Tucker that was a trucker, used to beat his girlfriend and his mother. Down the street, he dies. Well, if he was a son of a bitch in real life, probably on the other side, if he's walking, among us, then it would only make sense that like he's probably just a mean old bitter spirit as well, right? But then I do believe that I've come in contact with things that are um devilishly from a different kind of realm. The
Hmm.
dark, the dark side, hell, I don't know how it all works, but I will say that what those feel like is almost like they completely take over your emotions. Now,
Mm.
if I didn't know that something like that could be happening, imagine if you went to work and you knew nothing about the paranormal, you never watched any shows, you didn't even have a thought about demons in your whole entire life, and you went to work one day and your emotions felt like they were completely taken over. You're like, this isn't me. I don't think like this. Like, what is like, there's like some kind of funk that I'm in. I can't explain. It's very dangerous for a person that doesn't know something like that exists. Like me, at least I'm like, when I've felt it before, I'm
You're
like, I know
aware.
what's
Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
And I might start praying you know, Satan, I rebuke you. There's certain things that I would say, and I would just let it know, like, I'm on to you. Like, I'm not going to be easy prey. Um, but it can be very dangerous for the people out there that have no idea. I truly believe that 90% of the suicides, and I've said this for years, there's videos on my main channel. I believe that 90% of suicides have been pushed by um some evil.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. And the only reason why I agree with you is because of what my husband does for a living.
Hmm.
And he's picked up his share of suicides, and a lot of them happen to be children, to be honest. Like, I don't know how graphic I can go on YouTube, but
Yeah, go ahead.
um, he picked up a kid that cut his head off with I think he said those things that cut wood. What was it called? A sawing machine, like the big uh, what's
Oh,
it called?
like a welding machine type
Yeah, like
deal.
the
Okay.
big circle blade, and he put his head in there and cut it off. And this kid was only 11,
Wow.
and so do I believe that a lot of evil has something to do with it? Yeah, because when he talks to the parents are always like, we didn't, there was no signs.
Hmm.
He just seemed so happy. He seemed like a regular 11-year-old kid, and who knows if he was bullied? Who knows if the parents are telling the truth? Maybe they were,
Right.
bad to him, or maybe something evil just saw this kid and got a hold of him and took over his emotions, his thoughts,
Yeah.
replaced them with stuff that he would never think of. And then he does something like that, A lot of the younger generation, I, it could be because of, social media, because this is new to me. Like, I'm 1989. Like,
Yeah.
I think I was born in a good year, where pagers and cell phones and CDs, and it's progressed so much. But I feel like the kids this generation, they're just so, they have a lot of access to a lot of different things,
Hmm.
and then their curiosity takes over, and they start, I don't know,
Makes a lot of sense.
educating themselves in things that they probably shouldn't know.
Yeah. True.
And so,
Yeah.
I mean, you think an 11-year-old kid, like, to do that, that takes like guts
Yeah.
to do that. That takes like, I could never, I just I can't even fathom it. Like, I can't
Yeah.
wrap my head around it, and it's sad.
And
And
we're
it
hearing
happens a
about it
lot.
more and more. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Alicia just told me the other day. I don't know where she's seen it, but she said there was a kid. He was like, I don't know if he was like, he was really young. He was like 8 or 9 years old to committed suicide. I was like, what? Are you sure? And like, they said that he was being bullied at school, and it wasn't being addressed. Nothing was done, and he didn't want to feel that pain no more, and he committed suicide. And um, whether it's, you know, sadness, man. My heart goes out to those families. My prayers, condolences. That it's just unimaginable pain and torment these parents are going through. And the sad thing is this is a domino effect in reality, to where some people may say, oh, he was in pain, so he did that. So will that solve my pain? No, that will not solve your pain. Let me say this. If you believe in spirits at all, if you believe that the paranormal is among us, if you think being here physically, where you can actually talk to somebody, touch somebody, feel love, and give love, if you believe in spirits, then you'll know the only difference is going to be is now it's going to be even harder for you. Your pain is going to magnify by being here, where you can scream at somebody and they can't even see you or hear you.
Hmm.
That is hell on earth, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nobody, this isn't a big thing. Like, people, you even talk about demons to some people and they're like, oh, like, I think it's important. I really do. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
it's something they should probably bring up along the way in school. And I'm sure they'd say, oh, we're not going to talk about demons.
I think they just feel like if it's not talked about, if it's not brought up, it can't hurt them, you know? Like, I think I hear a lot, like, I have a friend, she's Christian, and, sometimes I'll bring up, like, a video, like, "Oh my god, like, look at this," and she'll be like, I don't like to, like, watch things like that, or,
Hmm.
put that in my life just because I don't want it, to find me or something like that." And I'm just like,
Right.
"Oh, okay." She's like, "I know that they're there. I think they're there." She's like, "Or maybe it's nothing." She's like, "But I just don't want to
Hmm.
open myself up to that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, she rather surround herself with good and positive,
Yeah.
which I applaud. But with positive and good, there also is evil and bad, because it's a balance. Life is balance.
Yeah.
It's not just all one thing. Like,
Can't be avoided.
you have to do both. You have to acknowledge both.
I agree. I agree 100%. And, it's that just reminds me of like the whole politics thing, something I don't like talking about whatsoever. But like, occasionally people will say, like, I never see you mention anything about politics or what's going on. And
Because
I'm
people
just,
can't handle it.
they can't handle it, for one. Yes. And here's the thing. My beliefs are my beliefs. Yours are yours, or
Mhm.
yours. I'm not going to argue with it. It is what it is. Like, you can't conform me. And I'm the kind of person that won't try and I don't care who you're in love with, who you choose to believe in. If we have a good relationship, it's because I feel you're sort of like me. You treat people
Mhm.
well, you say hi, how you doing, you actually care, you have a good heart in your body, and that's why we're here. But I know enough of what's going on I know what's going on in the world. I don't have to like watch every single second of it on TV and have these debates and these conversations. Like, I want to be knowledgeable on things. At least I know what can happen, what's going on, where we're headed, what possibilities, what to prepare for. It's the same thing with darkness. I think that it's very important to know a little bit about everything, like, for
Yeah.
sure, things that can affect you. I mean, even if you think that maybe it's because I remember I didn't believe in ghosts just 15 years ago. Like, I had one experience when I was a kid. I talk about this in like a few videos, where I seen what I believe to be Jesus at the foot of my bed. And I stared at him for a while. I never felt comfortable, and he just kind of dissipated. Like, it was weird. It just evaporated. It kind of looked like in thin air. And then nothing ever happened again. But everybody around me, my aunts, my grandmas, people I'd meet along the way, oh, there's this woman in white. She comes out and she sits on by that tree over there. And I would just think that people were crazy because I didn't experience, but I wasn't looking for it. The day I went looking for it, I shit you not, the first time I ever went ghost hunting, I had my first real paranormal experience. And to this day, I can still remember how it made me feel. I heard something, I caught something, but that's not what was scary about it. The energy that happened when it happened, like I'll never forget that. Like it kind of
Yeah.
didn't make my heart skip a beat, but it was kind of like a butterfly type feeling.
Yeah. 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 I I can agree with you. Um, not a not a feeling that I enjoyed having for sure. Um,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wait. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Elaborate, please.
uh, so when I was little, we lived in a haunted house. Um, I lived in a haunted house in Vallejo with my mom, Vallejo, California, and I would always see things like, I'd be like washing the dishes or like doing something, and I would see stuff in my peripherals,
Mhm.
and I would look over, and there'd be like nothing there, and I'd be like, okay, this is when I was like, I'm crazy. Like, there's nothing there, or the doors, they would all shake, like, like, like something angry was like trying to open them, and none of the windows would be open, or I would put something down and it would um move, like not with like in front of me, but it would be somewhere else, and I would just think, I'm like 12 or like 11, 13. I'm really young. And so I would just be like, oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Until one time I heard my mom, um, she rented out the rooms in our house, and she was telling one of the people that lived there, like, oh yeah, there's like this family here, and they're having like an adult conversation. Like I wasn't meant to hear this. So I was like, oh, okay. So like I'm not crazy. Like this house is haunted. And I remember being more comfortable with it, like knowing like, okay, I think what scared me was that I thought I was losing my mind, but to know that they
Uh-oh.
never did
Did we
anything. They
lose her?
never harmed
Okay.
us. Um, they were just there. And then years go by, and now I'm like 15, 16. And I'm at my boyfriend's house, and his house is haunted. He would tell me, his mom would tell me, his dad would tell me, like, this house is haunted. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, you know, I remember being in a haunted home, so nothing really happened, whatever, right? So I kind of just let it go. I kind of always got feelings like not uncomfortable feelings, but not like, oh, this is a cozy house feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so I remember going into his room, and I was about to go on his bed, and then all I hear is heaven, like that, heaven. And I turn around, and the hairs on the hairs all over my body, which
Mhm.
is shot straight up, and I screamed so loud because I've never heard something like that. I've seen stuff from my peripherals. I've
Mhm.
seen the door shake, but I've never heard a spirit. And it said my name, which was,
Right.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry from my French, but like just remember running to my boyfriend, and I tried, like, I couldn't even speak because I was like in shock. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, they know who you are. Like, it's okay. They're not going to hurt you. But I'm like, but the way this thing said my name wasn't like heaven. It was like heaven, like
Dang. Like almost
scolding
kind of
me or
mean.
something.
Right.
Yeah. And so I could never be alone in that house again. Like he had to be with me or his brothers or his mom. It was scary. And I remember thinking, I don't ever want to feel that again if it's always going to feel like that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that, I
Right.
just didn't feel safe, you know? And then after that, I don't think I've ever had any other encounters. I've always wanted to. Like, I wanted to see, okay, like as I got older, I'm like, okay, I wanna see more, I wanna know more, I wanna feel more. But it never really happened, like Aaron and I would go to cemeteries and never got any feelings. Like I hear you and Alicia talk about, if you feel like there's hair on your arms, there's something touching you. I never felt that,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of like searching for it, like,
I was
to
gonna
see,
ask, did you actually go looking for it? So, I mean,
yeah,
you
to
did.
see if
You
I could
put some
handle
work
it,
in. Right.
Yeah, to see if like if I still get affected the same way that I did when I was younger. My husband has definitely felt some stuff, especially doing what he's doing.
Mhm.
He got an EVP once, he was transporting a body, and he was asking, like, who's the body that's in my car right now? And um it said the name, but it was like eerie. It was like, oh, it gave me chills like when I heard it. And he was like, yeah, it was crazy, like he's heard footsteps in mortuaries like late at night. He's like the only person there. He's like, I swear to you, there's somebody walking in this hallway. And I'm like, why aren't you recording this? Like,
Yeah.
why aren't you calling me so that I can like share it with you? And so yeah, I do look for it. And maybe because I look for it so hard, it's not happening, because those other times that it happened, I wasn't looking for it. I was just like, letting it be.
Yeah. So you're like the opposite of me. You when you weren't looking for it, you found it, and when I went looking for it, I found it. Um, I don't know the answers to this. Like I used to, because I did so many investigations, like going back like 3 years ago, like when I was doing nothing but paranormal on the platform.
Hmm.
Before I ever came to the platform, I did hundreds of investigations, and at some point, I started to feel like maybe I was some kind of an expert. I was naive, you know what I mean? Like I had felt like here's what I'll say. I felt like, and I even still feel like this. I feel like I've learned so much from just getting out there doing it and really paying attention to what I feel when these things happen, listening to them, hear those feelings I feel when something happens, that I've paid attention to it in a different aspect than most people do. So I feel like there's not a lot you could ask me that I don't feel like I could explain. But then again, I'm only explaining from my experience. So I'm not an
Right.
expert, but for my own self, like I can explain to myself, I can explain to anybody how a spirit box works and why it could work. And if these things are real, how they can be. But again, I don't believe anybody's an expert. I might have threw that around a few times that like but the truth is we'll never know for sure if I believe it is demons, I believe it is spirits, I believe it is ghost. But there's a 1% chance or maybe a 10% chance that it could be aliens.
Oh my
I
God. Yes.
I don't believe that, but I'm also a realist. Like, come on, like we don't know for a fact that maybe these EVPs we're getting, yes, it can happen the way that I know that it happens, through frequency and their energy connecting at the right moment. Their voices can project, as we can see, like white noise pickup, like Officer CB. Like, what's to say that there might not be that 1%, 10% chance that maybe an alien or something, their communication is coming through that it's so faint, we call it EVPs.
Right. Yeah, I agree because I 1,000% believe in aliens. Like,
Wow, okay. I
I've,
didn't know that.
yeah, I've seen UFOs. My husband has seen UFO with a group of people, so it wasn't just like us alone. Um,
Wow. Holy
I
shit.
definitely, but to be completely honest with you, I would rather have an experience with a ghost
Mhm.
than with an alien because that's just crazy. Like that's just nuts. Like I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
have I like to watch documentaries of people that have been abducted,
Yeah.
because I believe them. I don't think they're crazy. I believe they had a real human experience
Mhm.
and they're just, trying to let you know the best way they can. And it may sound crazy, it may not make sense, but I absolutely believe that this happened to them.
Yeah.
And their stories alone is just like, okay, you're that's all I need to know. Like I don't need to be abducted. Like I'm good.
They don't stand to really like gain a lot from telling you this. It's not,
Exactly.
maybe some of them might get a tell all book because of the situation, but like 90% of the people, they're going to say you're crazy. If anything, you're going to get labeled crazy. And because a lot of people are still waking up to this whole alien thing.
I think people are insane if they don't believe that there's aliens. Our
Hmm.
world is so big, the universe is endless. what makes you think that there can't be other things living out there?
Right.
Like,
I agree.
do you choose to be like that small-minded? Like, do you choose to be that naive? Are you just in complete denial? Because when they're just like, that's not real. There's no such thing. But then we have, all on the news all the time, like, UFO, like our Air Force will say stuff about it, our
Hmm.
Navy, like, you know, and you're still gonna say that it's not real? Like, come on. Like, you don't have to be a fan of it, but don't sit there and be like, it's not real because everything can be real.
Right. I mean,
We're
they could
just
say the same thing about the paranormal. Like, it's rare that people actually catch these full body apparitions on camera that they say that they see. Um,
but
I would.
see, but that's what I mean. Like, people can believe in God,
Mm-hmm,
right? But like, you don't really see God. Do you know
mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? But you still believe that he's there. So when something does show up, how do you not believe in that? When it just showed up. You can believe in something that you've never seen. I don't know people that have seen angels. Not that they're not real, they're
Right.
absolutely real. I believe that they're real, but I don't need to see them to believe it. But other people are like, "Oh, well, I just don't." But it just happened. Like that
Yeah.
doll just moved on its own.
That's
No, it's
beautiful
nothing.
logic.
It's
It's
nothing.
simple logic.
Yeah, and people are just not like comprehending. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
denial, just straight denial. And I'm just like, I don't, you're not my type of people?
Well, I think that's the same thing that's happened and happening with the paranormal, and then those skeptic people that choose to be closed minded. And there's nothing wrong with not wanting to dabble into things or not going to look for it, but it definitely can help to understand. Because if there's an alien invasion and you haven't like had some kind of idea of what could happen, maybe one of
You're
those
in
abduction
big
videos.
trouble. Yeah.
Exactly. Or if you come face to face with a demon, maybe something's happening to you you can't explain. If you entertain the possibilities, then maybe there's something out there that can benefit you, some kind of knowledge. Maybe this interview right here would say to somebody like, you know what? I haven't been feeling like myself, and this hasn't been me. I don't think dark like this. I don't think life is over. Look what I'm surrounded by. How could I think that? Right? Beautiful wife, beautiful kids. I walk outside, the sun's in my life. Something could be going on, and by acknowledging it, you may very well save your life and the others around you. Because here's the thing, that domino effect is real. you know uh Example, lead singer of Linkin Park took his life, Chester.
Mhm.
And just imagine, he had kids, he had a wife, all those fans. Bro, you were in pain, but now like look how that pain transfers. And this is happening every day. It's probably happened, unfortunately. It's sad to say it could have happened right now while we're on this stream.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want people to to get me wrong. Like, there's some people that have a medical condition, they're medically
Right.
depressed,
I do agree with
I
that.
don't
Yep.
I don't want to dismiss that. There are people that genuinely need help or postpartum or, you know, um just stuff that has an explanation and they should seek help,
Right.
for themselves, for the people in their life, but mostly for themselves because you're the one that has to live in this body. You're the one
Hmm.
that has to wake up every day. You're the one that has to live your life. So you should seek help. But they should, maybe think, like you said, is this evil trying to take over me? You know? Is
Yeah.
this something bad, negative that, wants to hurt me from the inside out? And whether you are medically depressed or there's something um, paranormal happening, we all got to understand that we are the gods of our body. We are like the boss. What we say
Yeah.
goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't want to feel a certain way, then we are in absolute control of that. Nobody else can help us with that. It has
Right.
to be ourselves. Like, how we deal with things, how we react to um trauma, how we react to happiness. That's all on us. And I think it's crazy that, some people will blame it on certain things, or, it can contribute, but the way we handle it is purely on us. And so the people that are medically, depressed, or are just not okay, they are the ones that have to make the choice to go seek help, right?
Right.
Because if, your family tries to force you to go do something and you don't want to go, you're not going to change. You're not going to accept the help, and the same thing paranormal wise. Like, you may not understand what's happening, but you don't need to understand. What you need to do is fight it and stay true to who you are, and know, like, no, this isn't me. You
Hmm.
do not have control over me. You know,
Right.
I'm sorry. You need to leave
And state those things out loud, and
out
stand your
loud.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And mean it. Really mean it. Don't say it because you're like, oh, well, people say I should do this, so let's try it. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Like, you have to want it. You have to mean it. You have to want to be happy.
Yeah,
You have to want to be okay.
absolutely. Yeah. And from what I've seen and what I heard and what I studied, because I remember my first 3 years, like really diving into the paranormal. It just so happened, like, excuse me, people back then would reach out to me. Like, and the crazy thing is I wasn't a YouTuber. Like, I just somehow word of mouth got like a reputation in a small town where people were like, hey, my friend Jody does ghost hunting. And one person would tell somebody else that, and somebody else. And these, like, I'm gonna call them cases, just professional. They're cases, right? These people would say, like, hey, could you come see, like, if I got something going on? And this is way before YouTube. And all these ones I was getting were like dark. So, like, uh one of the ones, the most memorable ones, was this family. They got a hold of me, and they said, we moved into this new house, and we feel like it's tearing us apart. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like, I'll come check it out. I went there, and from the time I walked in until when I left, it left with me. It was the darkest, most hateful, evil feeling. I have yet to experience something exactly like it, as strong as it was. And I can say it actually affected my life. Like, it affected my life for like 6 months. And like I said, this was in the beginning. But when I went in there, I went in with like, yeah, maybe this is explainable. Maybe they just bought this house, and they've sunk a lot of money into it, and they're trying to get their feet on the ground, like, like, maybe. But I went in there and I seen, like, the kids are arguing. They were arguing. They said that they never used to argue. Like, they all all just got along really well. They were most loving family, and we kind of knew that about them too. So, like, it was a little weird to us, and they seemed so off.
Hmm.
But from the responses I got, through the spirit box, without a spirit box, just into my camera, with the energies I felt, with the emotions changing. Like, when I went in there immediately, I don't know if I've ever said this, I felt like I wanted to punch somebody in the fucking face.
Oh
And
man,
that's just not me. Like, I can get to that point. Like, if you step on my feet, if you're trying to poke the bear, like, it's very easy for me to get there, but nobody did anything. Had the best day. My life was in a great place. And I walked in there and I just wanted to, all I could think about was punching somebody in the fucking face.
it was the energy.
And I'm choking over here too.
Yeah, I'm like, why
Guys, the
am I
demons are
coughing?
trying to fuck with us as we are doing this pod right now. The demons are trying to lock
Yeah,
in.
I'm like, oh my god, stop, stop.
Good Lord. Proof in the pudding. No, but okay.
Okay.
Guys, we lost internet. Not her. I guess maybe it's me, but it's not storming. It's weird. We were talking about this stuff, and I've never, out of all the people I've interviewed, this has never happened before. I will say this with what we were talking about. um, I felt for the first time coming into the paranormal field what manipulation from darker energy felt like. And it was life changing for me, and I learned how to deal with it, and that was standing my ground and focusing on the right things and keeping them in the forefront, keeping them in the front of my mind, being my main focus, and ignoring any of the bad things that were happening, signs, voices, feelings, emotions. um that's not me. That's not how Jody does. And I had to remember how Jody does, and that's what I focused on, and I felt that darkness back away from me. That's how I dealt with it, and that's how I deal with it to this day. um so it's something that is very real, and I also think it's very weird that all of a sudden we had a situation like this out of this whole talk. Like maybe it was getting too deep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's happening, but we're gonna keep talking what we want to talk about. There's nothing that's gonna stop that.
Facts.
There's no power that can stop us from saying what we want to say
Isn't that something though? Like, and it might not be related at all,
at all.
but
We're just gonna go with it though, because it just
yeah,
it
it's
seems
funny
cooler.
because
No,
I was talking about the most powerful thing that I ever
yeah,
experienced, which happened to be demonage. Maybe you would think that they would want to keep me online for something like that. Yes, spread our message. No, like it was terrible. It ripped this family apart. And actually, when they moved from there, it was, I always explain it like the sun came out in my life when I got rid of my attachment. They said whenever they moved, it was like the sun came out in their life. And it's funny, like all the people that do get through this or overcome, they say that's exactly what it feels like. It's like, wow, the sun's back in my life. Everything's bright again.
I'm thankful that I've never had to experience something like that. I don't know how I would handle it, honestly. I would like to think that I would be aware because, I'm educated enough on the paranormal, to know that that could be a big reason. But also, I don't know if I would be able to handle it, like no one really knows until you're put into that situation.
Yeah.
Just like the people in your comments when you go and do Randonautica or when you do your paranormal videos, not just you, but like other YouTubers, how they're always
Yeah.
like, oh, like that's not real or whatever, whatever. But it's like, but you're not there.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like. You're not
Absolutely.
experiencing it yourself. You're watching from the outside. And so I don't know. I think that's, wonderful of you to overcome something like that and put yourself back into the position of power,
Thank you.
because like you said, people that don't know or closed-minded about it, they're the ones that get affected the most because they don't know how to protect themselves or deal with it, you
Right.
know? Um,
Yeah, and
so
I would
yeah,
say that the only good thing that they're doing is they're not going to look for it, so it's a lot less likely to happen. However, you imagine somebody dies in your family, you go into a grieving depression, and then you become accessible. um it would be equivalent to in real time walking down the street in one of the worst neighborhoods in the world with a big old stack of money on you. You just become a target.
mhm.
um and yeah, I feel like it's something that people should be aware of. And you don't have to follow it to a T. You don't have to become an investigator, go down the rabbit hole, watch every paranormal show in the world, and read books and stuff like that. But yeah, it can't hurt. It's just like carrying a gun on you for your safety, even if you hate guns. Like, what could it hurt? We live in a dangerous world. You should have some form of protection with you.
Exactly. Yes,
You know, um,
absolutely.
that,
It's just being aware. It's like you said, it's being aware, it's being knowledgeable in it. It's just knowing that there are different stuff out there.
Yeah,
and you don't have to be an expert, but you should know a little, you know, to protect yourself, your loved ones, your family.
I agree.
Life is crazy. Like there's so many unexplained things, and I just wish people would take the same amount of time that they put into believing that there's, good, not just with God and angels, but just good. I'm the spiritual people, that believe in crystals and, just positivity and stuff.
Hmm.
They also have to know that, okay, with that, there's a reason why there's positive, right? There's a reason why that there's good because something has to overcome the evil,
Right.
you know?
Absolutely. And we know there's happiness because we see people laugh. We see them do things that make them happy. We know there's evil because we see it. And if it's on this side, it can be on that side. Now, something I do want to ask you, since we've covered the paranormal and demons and now aliens too, any thoughts on like Bigfoot?
Oh my God. See, this is a perfect question. Like I would be like asking Aaron right now, like, babe, give me all the information. Like I used to think Bigfoot was just like a ginormous like gorilla that we
Hmm.
haven't captured yet. To be completely honest with you, I
I
thought it was like
I
it's a
thought the same
ginormous
thing. So
gorilla.
yeah.
And then like my husband just started like showing me like videos, and he took me to where I live, closer to the beach in the mountains. There's like a museum, a Bigfoot museum, and they
Mhm.
have like pictures of where they captured Bigfoot, and they have like just a Bigfoot museum. So everything that you can think of, this is all real stuff, and none of it's like fake.
Oh wow.
And he took me there, and we're like looking around, and he's like, "I'm telling you, babe, like this is real," and da 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 da. And I've I've come to feel like, okay, that's crazy. Like it I look like I my view right now, I have the mountains and it's
Mhm.
covered in trees. If I can believe that there's something in the universe, definitely something in these mountains. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in the
Facts.
in the woods, in the jungle, and like who knows where he likes to live,
Yeah.
Same thing with like the ocean. Like the
They're
ocean,
constantly discovering new species all the time.
there's still so much of it that has not been touched.
Mhm.
There's it goes so deep. We don't have
Right.
the equipment to go that far. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, of course, do I believe that Bigfoot exists? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do I
Mm.
think he's like an evil thing or a good thing? I don't know. Honestly, I think he's just living his life, in hiding.
Might
Maybe
not
he
even
knows.
realize he's a Bigfoot. He might just
Yeah.
what's different about me? Yeah.
Yeah, like why do people run every time I come about? Like why are they always trying to take my picture? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what this thing thinks of. Same thing with like the Loch Ness monster. Do you know? Like
I believe in the Loch Ness. I ain't gonna lie. I believe Alicia says, Jody, you're freaking crazy. But am I though?
like
Am I
mermaids.
though?
I believe in mermaids. I believe in all the stuff. I
I
believe
would
in
like to
everything.
believe in mermaids.
And
You
I
know what? I've
believe
never
do
really
do
thought about it much. I haven't thought about it. That's it.
do I think that they're Disney cute? No. I think they're actually really ugly.
They're fugly.
Yeah, I think they're really ugly, but do I believe that it's part human and part fish? Absolutely.
Wow,
People think I'm crazy.
unsexy mermaids, guys.
Yeah.
Unsexy mermaids do exist. So don't get your hopes up. It's the weirdest shit in the world that like this is even on some people's minds, but it is. I heard this. You know how guys are, man. This guy said, "Man, if they're mermaids, we're real. I'm trying to fuck one." I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like that doesn't even like
Yeah.
that never even was a thought somewhere in the universe of my mind.
It's a new
Um,
fetish that's coming about.
it's speaking of that and speaking of aliens, dude. I usually don't talk about stuff like this on this channel, but I'm gonna say something. You may have seen it, bro. This is groundbreaking shit. I go in Spencer's the other day. Man,
Mhm.
Spencer's is crazy. And I'm like looking at the posters, and I look over to my left, and there's this whole new area of alien fantasy monster sex toys. Alien dicks like crazy looking shit. Like, even if you're not into that kind of stuff, look, I'm not into that kind of stuff.
Somebody's into it.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking and I'm like, some of these things look torturous. Like,
Yeah.
like I couldn't even believe that it was a thing. And I looked at Alicia and I said, this must be the new thing now that's going to take off. Is, AI is taking over.
Hmm.
Um, People aren't just fans of things no more. They're living. Look at my room. I'm a horror fan. I'm living it to a T. Um, but it makes you wonder, like, and if you should go down the rabbit hole just to look to see what I'm talking about. It's very, very interesting that somebody even thought of this.
There's
Um,
a market for everything, I say.
there is, and it's mainly circled around like alienistic things, and I was like, who the fuck thought of this? But I get it. I mean, you have to cater to every market. If you don't, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Just like how, um, like, not that I'm attracted to serial killers, okay, but like, when I think Michael Myers is hot, you know,
Yeah.
and
That's why the
I'm not
husband's
the
been
only.
cosplaying him this whole time.
No, that's just his favorite. Like, my favorite one is Freddy Krueger. I love Freddy Krueger. Oh my God. Like, he's just
Wow.
so funny. Like, I just think you are the funniest serial killer ever. I
Yeah.
love Chucky. I think Chucky's hilarious. Like, he's just a fucking crazy doll, dude. I love it. But
Yeah.
it's not just me. There's other. I see it like on the comments, like, "Oh, that's Daddy," like Michael Myers. You can come to my house anytime, or I
Wow.
I just think it's I forget what it's called. Or like there's girls that will make videos of
Like
when
cosplay.
yes, like
Yeah.
or they'll make a video of them being abducted. Not that this is a joke by any means,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
guys, but and they'll be like, "Oh, you're gonna tie me up." Okay, like you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like I just
Yeah.
feel like everybody. It may be all jokes and fun, but I just feel like somehow there's just a little bit of truth to it, where people just
Yeah.
have
And that's
fantasies.
something that and that's something that stuck out that's got to you. Like, dude, yeah, we all have those things. I don't know like what mine is specifically tied to the horror genre, but I can tell you there's been something that's probably captivated me to where I'm like, that sounds like a nice situation right there. I like to be inside of that. Into that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, dude, it's crazy is they are turning this into a thing now to where you're
Hmm.
seeing, like, I won't even look for stuff and the algorithm will show me stuff that I've thought about. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, and my husband says, we like how I keep bringing up my husband as if he's here. Like he's always with me everywhere.
Oh, that's good.
He says that it's our like phones like listening to us. You know,
Alicia says that too.
yeah, because
She'll talk
what
about
you
Subway and then all of a sudden, like, a
there's
Subway thing's popping up on her phone.
yeah, yeah, or like certain videos of certain things. I'm like, what? Like, and he'll yell at his phone, like, "Stop listening to me." Like it is wild. It's crazy. Do I
Yeah,
believe it? I do. I absolutely believe that our phones, our TVs, electronics, it's scary, Jody. Like
yeah.
we can't hide, unless you live completely off the grid.
Real life
It's
horrors, man. Real life horrors.
it's it's a bittersweet thing, right? Because with technology, you get to do what you do now, what you love to do, right?
Yeah.
Videos and movies and stuff like that. And then there's also well, they can always find you, and then you have stalkers and
Hmm.
nobody's like really safe, and then they can like tap into your stuff, and
Absolutely.
there's what balance, right? With good,
I
there's
got
also bad.
friends every single month. I'm hearing about one of my friends losing their Facebook accounts, their Instagram accounts. This one guy is not a friend, but he's somebody that my son faithfully watched on TikTok. Um, he had like 3 million followers on TikTok, and this person that acted like a super fan, they put some work in, man, for like a year or two trying to get him to notice him. They said that they had made him like this video or whatever, a special video, They had been working on for like 6 months, and they just wanted him to watch it. It was for him, and he clicked on it, and immediately his account, like when he woke up the next morning, because he watched, like, he went to go to the site or whatever. He had some trouble. He was like, okay, fuck it. He got out of it. Next morning, he woke up, his account and everything was gone. The same person was messaging him saying, send me X amount of dollars if you want your account back.
That's that's so sick.
They put
Like,
like 6 months to a year of work in trying to honey dick this guy, and it sucked, bro, because he's such the sweetest person in the world.
see, that right there is evil. Like, that's
Yeah,
evil. Like, how do you attack a good person like that? You know? Like,
I don't
why?
know.
Like, what compels you to do something like that?
I agree. I agree. I don't get it. I mean, obviously there's major evil in the world, but I think what's worse than like demons is people trying to figure out a way to reach these new levels of evil. Like,
Yeah,
dude, we know where you're going. Come on, like, judge not lest thee be judged, but like, I'm pretty sure I can call it. you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
sad.
It is sad. It is. It's just we God gave us free will, and so we make our own choices. And I fully believe that even if evil is trying to latch on, you have a choice
Mhm.
to surrender or to beat it, you know? Um,
I agree.
it's just we are the gods of our bodies, guys. We are this the we this whole temple is a universe in its own, you
Yeah.
know. We are made from dust.
Yeah. If there's one
So,
thing that's for sure, we know how we work.
exactly.
We know us better than anybody else. We do us better than anybody else. So yeah, that's a good message right there. And I've actually said a few times in my life, nobody does me better than me.
Exactly.
I can't wait to keep doing what I'm doing. Like, like there's certain things. So I live by that too. But hey, this has been a great conversation, man. We covered the paranormal, we covered demons, aliens, Bigfoot, and even alienistic sex toys. So and we know that heaven likes Michael Myers. So
Yeah, I do.
um
Yeah.
well maybe I can have you on again sometime. That would be awesome. You've been a
I would
great
love that.
friend, and I think we had a good conversation. So I'm sure
Thank you
people would
so
probably want
much.
to
This
see it
has
again.
been an absolute pleasure. I enjoyed this immensely. I think this was great. If I could do it again with you, absolutely count me in. But thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on here with you.
Absolutely. Have just hold on one second. Don't go off yet. Guys, thank you so much for watching this the Scream Scene. Make sure your notifications are on. Of course, you're subscribed and all that good stuff. Like, comment, share the videos. Man, I would say we post every week here, but man, we're posting every day here. Videos are scheduled out, getting interviews back to back. So lots of great content to come here. Interviews, reactions, reviews, news. I like for it all to be kind of in the horror vein. If it's not about a horror film, I want it to be about real life horrors. I want it to have the people that are passionate about horror having the conversations with me. So, anyways, lock in, guys. We'll see you in a few days. But until then, until next time, sweet nightmares.